Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? Yes, yes, I am back. I know I always come back in a very, very odd time. Well, it is currently 3:23 a.m. and today's date is the 27th of October 2024. I am back. I am back. I am back, y'all. Genesis is back. Okay. The title of today's live stream is Winners Never Quits in America. Winners never quit in America, people. If you're going to win, you must not quit on whatever you're doing. You got to stay strong, stay focused, never quit on what you're doing, okay? Because winners never quit in the United States, okay? All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I am back. Like I said, I am back. It was a long day yesterday. I literally just got back home, like, say, 1 hour, 30 minutes ago. Yes, I know. I just got back in. But, you have to do what you have to do. It's just how it goes. You have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. All right. Okay. You see, the thumbnail says vote. The thumbnail for this live stream says vote. So let me know in the chat. Have you voted or are you planning on voting? Okay. It is our responsibility to go out there and vote. Whoever you want to vote for, just make sure you vote. Okay. All right. Let's put the polls up. Who is best for the economy? All right. Let me know. How was your day, people? How was your day? Yes, the polls are up. Who is the best for the economy? Abu Kamala or Trump? All right. So without further delay, we are going to be looking at the former President Trump hold a campaign event in Novi, Michigan. Okay, Novi, Michigan. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. All right, tune into the live show. Tune in, tune in, tune in. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. So let's subscribe. Let's get there together strong. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this every single day. So you guys make this possible to keep going. And, it's been fun just getting to know some of you guys on the chat. You guys getting to know my perspective on the live stream. And it's just been fun. I've learned a lot doing this from some of you guys, and some of you guys have, I've learned some stuff from me too. But I know for sure I have learned way more than you may have learned from me because it's a lot of people watching, different perspective, different educational background, different social background. You know what I mean? Faith, just different people around the world just watching, especially in the United States. Uh, it's been an amazing thing. And I never thought I would be doing this, but I am. And I don't take it for granted. I respect every single one of you. And I am thankful. Okay. God bless you guys. And without further delay, the 45th, some people say it might be the 47th, I give you former President Donald J. Trump in Michigan. Let's get it.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, and a very big hello to Michigan, which we're leading, by the way, by a lot. And I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. You know, last night my opponent had one of these, and they bust in people, but you know, they got Beyonce, and Beyonce, you know, Beyonce. They got Beyonce. So Beyonce went up, spoke for a couple of minutes, and then left, and the place went crazy. They booed the hell out of everybody. They thought she was going to perform. Now, I would have no interest in that, but they said, and what happened is my opponent got up and started speaking. They booed the hell out of her. It's crazy. So they have to use people to get people to come, and then they send buses. We don't send buses. Everybody comes. We're just going to make America great again. It's very simple. I thought I'd tell you that little story because you'll never hear it from the fake news. They don't talk about it. They wouldn't tell you stories like that. So I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think so. I think so. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, we will end inflation. And you know what? It's we, not me. We will stop the invasion of criminals into our country. And I will bring back the American dream for your children and for yourself. This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it. I will fix it. It's going to be very, very interesting. We'll fix it. You know, I've been watching what...
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in one more time. I do not like the audio for that video. Let's try this one right here.
Thank you. We'll talk about it. This is all you need to know. Kamala broke it. I will fix it. It's going to be very, very interesting. We'll fix it. You know, I've been watching what's happening. You know, you do know she's doing really badly, right? She can't speak. There's something wrong with her. We went through 4 years of that. We can't go through 4 more years of that. With your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and much stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. And just so you know, this is it, because we're not going to be able to save it much. This is it. We've gone as low as we're going to go. We have to be able to save it. Any longer, you're not going to be able to save it. It's going to be gone, and we're not going to let that happen to this country. I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country. I'm asking you to dream big again for you and your family, your children. This is going to be America's new golden age. You watch. We're going to bring back those car companies to Michigan. They're going to come into Detroit. I've been hearing about promises for 40 years on Detroit. We're going to make the promise. You can have those car companies come roaring back through intelligent uses of tariffs, taxes, and incentives are all coming back. They don't come back, they're not going to be selling any cars in this country, let me tell you right now. And I have to tell you, I just did something very big for Detroit and for Michigan. In particular, I killed the massive plants that were going to be built in Mexico. They're dead. They're all dead. And they were going to drive out all your damn business. They were going to take every one of yours. They were building the biggest plants in the world in Mexico. They were all, and you know who owned them? China. And they were going to flood our country with cars from just across the border, and I killed them. You know why I killed them? Because I said, we're not going to have it. I'm going to win, and I'm going to put tariffs on those cars, and those cars will never be able to pay the tariff because it would be too high. And they gave up on the project. They're not going to build the project. How good is that? And I'm not even in office. How about that? But we will be soon. So if I can do that out of office, think about what the hell I can do in office, right? And I'll tell you what, these are the biggest plants in the world. One of them is the biggest plant in the world by far. I think there's more business than your whole state would do with the autos. It's one of those things. And what I did is I said, there's no car coming in because they were going to just flood the whole nation. It would affect other states too, but I think of Michigan and I think of Detroit. It was going to end it. You've already lost 70% probably from the heyday. It's dead. And we're going to now build it up. You're going to be bigger and better with the industry than you've ever been, even in your heyday. I got a lot of friends here. I know half the people here. Your future senator, I hope. Mike, you got to win this thing. He's going to win. He's going to win. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is truly in your hands, Michigan. You have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris, the worst vice president in the history of our country. He's the worst president and she's the worst vice president. They stole the election from this guy. They stole it. They said, you're out, Joe, you're out. Crazy Nancy, Schumer, all of them, they went in, you're out of here, Joe. No, I won 14 million votes. You know, he got 14 million votes. Kamala got no votes, and she took over. That's a threat to democracy, right? You know, to use that term. But you're going to tell Kamala Harris that it's going to start right here. You know, if we win Michigan, the whole deal is over. You know that, right? It's all over. You're going to say, Kamala, you're no good. You did a lousy job. You destroyed San Francisco. You destroyed California. You destroyed everything you touched. You're not going to destroy our nation. Kamala Harris, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. You're fired. All right, we got to get her the hell out. If she did to you what she did to San Francisco, you don't want to have it. She destroys everything. Not a good person either. You know, I see the ads she puts in. Like, I don't have to go into specifics. Anything I did, anything I say, she puts ads in, and we're mainstream. You know what we are? We're common sense. She will put an ad in saying the exact opposite of what I believe and what I've been saying for 20 years. She's changed 15 policies in order to be able to run. Like no transgender operations for people in detention upon will, paid for by the government. She changed like men in women's sports. She wants men to be able to participate in women's sports. Now, she probably got rid of that. Like, no fracking. There would be no, for her whole life, she's no fracking. No oil and gas. We don't want oil and gas. So really, how are we going to get the cars to run? Well, we want to go a little bit further. How are we going to get them to run? All of these things. She's changed everything over the last year and a half because you can't get elected with that stuff unless you cheat, which is, you know, what they do, frankly. But you can't get elected. So she's changed every one of them. Remember this. Nobody can change like that. If you change one policy, one thing with me, I've been consistent. I saw on a fake news show today, I was watching, they said, well, one thing you have to say, he's been saying the same thing for 30 years. It's true. They can't steal your car business. They can't take your jobs. You got to stop. It's how I got into politics in the first place. But we're going to bring all those plants back. We're going to bring all those jobs back. And I've been saying that for her. She's never said that. But every single thing, and if you have her, it's not going to happen. I don't believe. Look, I'm not supposed to say this because you got to vote. If you don't vote, otherwise I'm not. We're doing really well. We're sort of way up. But I'm supposed to say, it's really tight. But you got to vote anyway. You got to vote. In fact, we have a chance of maybe doing something that nobody's ever done before politically in this country, at least not for a long time. But we have a chance. But Michigan, we win Michigan. We win the whole deal, and we make America great again. You got to get out and vote. Early in-person voting in Michigan is now open statewide, and I'm asking for you to go to votetrump.com right after this rally ends, and you're going to see something, but just go. Let me ask you, because you have the early vote, you know, it used to be you have one-day voting, paper ballots, voter identification. Today it's illegal, you know, the yes. How about this guy, Gavin Newsom in California? He just signed a bill making it illegal to even ask a person for voter identification. They want to put you in jail. That's the next step. No, we're gonna get this whole thing straightened out. It's crazy. You know what? Even the Democrats, it's just the politicians, the Democrats. You go to the Democrats, you take a Democrat, they don't want that. The people, the vote, they don't want that. They want to have voter ID. They want to have proof of your country. In other words, are you a citizen of the country? It would be nice to have, right? So, but Gavin Newsom in California, they signed, I didn't even believe it. I thought it was like an April Fool's Day. I said, are we in April by any chance? April Fool's Day. He comes out with a bill that you are not allowed to ask a person whether or not they have voter ID. If you do it, you have broken the law. Can you believe it? So you'll get arrested if you ask a person. This is where we're going. It's going to end, and it's going to end very quickly. So as you probably have been reading, we're setting records in the early vote in Michigan and in, I think, most of the other states. And you have until November 3rd to vote early. So you can do that. But the main thing is to go vote. You go vote if you want. How many people have voted so far? Okay, that's good. How many people are going to vote? So much for our early voting drive. Oh, I think it's good. We used to have one-day voting, voter ID. So much for our early voting drive, right? By the way, I love that because we're already leading in the early vote, which is something no Republican has done in Michigan since they went to this ridiculous system. You know what the ridiculous system is? You have the rest of your life to vote anytime you want. Come on. The whole thing is good. We used to have one-day voting, voter ID, paper ballots. Prove that you're a citizen of the United States, please. And you know what? You'd had no problems. 9 o'clock, 9:30, you announce a woman. Somebody's unhappy and somebody's not, but there's no stuff going up to the sky, back, forth. And it would cost 8%. This is not the most important thing, but it's important. Paper ballots would cost 8% of what the machines cost. And paper ballots, how about these machines? They have the machines and they said, we won't be able to give you a vote for 6 days, right, on election night. We won't be able to give you a vote for 6 days with paper ballots. 10 o'clock in the evening, they announce, there's bad stuff going on. Why are we paying 10 times the cost for something that doesn't give you the vote for a long time? You see it all the time. They have states that are, say, we'll need a few more days. with paper ballots, you don't. You know, France went to it. They had mail-in voting. They had all this stuff. And it was really working badly. It was corrupt. And they went to paper ballots, voter ID, same-day voting. They had one day, they had 39 million votes. At the end, they had a winner, they had a loser, and that was it. Everybody went home. That's crazy. And we're going to get it back. With your help, 10 days from now. But there's a big lobby against it, you know, a lot of money made with all of the contraptions that they have. A lot of money. Not so much money made with paper. You know, the paper is it's called watermark. It's very sophisticated, actually. It really prevents you from cheating. With your help, 10 days from now, we are going to win Michigan. We are going to defeat Kamala Harris. And we are going to make America great again. And we are going to make Detroit great again, finally, after 45 years. We're going to make Detroit. I took a lot of heat because, you know, I was up here at the Economic Club. That's what I was telling you about, these massive factories in Mexico, owned by China, but massive factories. And I was here, and I wasn't that positive. I mean, you know, they want me to say, oh, Detroit's great, oh, it's so great. You know, it needs help. So I said, it needs help, and people said, oh, he wasn't positive. I can't be positive. I'll be positive within 2 years. I'll be positive. You'll see what positive is. But how the hell can you be positive? No, but that was where I called the gentleman. I'm in and I see him sitting there, the man who builds most of the auto plants. He's the biggest in the world, I guess. And I told him I wanted to see a plant a year and a half ago. He said, okay, but I'll have to take you to Mexico. I said, I want to go to Mexico. I want to see one here. He said, we don't build the big ones here because you have a stupid head of the union. This guy is stupid. And you know what? We're leading with the rank and file of the UAW. You know that. We're leading by a lot. Because I'm going to bring your jobs back, and I'm going to end the electric mandate, all electric mandate on day one, which is going to cause all of you to lose your job. You're going to build electric cars, and you're going to build all kinds of cars, except hydrogen. There will be no hydrogen cars. They tend to blow up, and once they blow up, you are not recognizable anymore. No, they say that's the hottest new thing, hydrogen. Does anybody they say it's so hot. The problem is when it's not hot, it's bad. It's bad. So I don't want to do that. They say for the most part, for the most part, it's really wonderful. But when it goes bad, it's over. You're not recognizable. They call the wife, please come and inspect to see whether or not this is your husband. He's lying against a tree, and the tree has a lot of red on it. So we're not going to do hydrogen cars. Is that okay for everybody, right? These guys told me, we're working on the solution. Forget it. We got enough. For generations, this state was the world capital of automotive production and one of the great manufacturing centers in all of history. You know, you were the best. You were the best. But then a lot of bad things started happening 40 years ago, actually. But your politicians have done nothing. They were either stupid or corrupt, one or the other. They were both. But year after year, globalist politicians like Kamala Harris sold you out and let other countries loot and pillage and plunder your wealth and our jobs and our American dreams. 40% of Michigan auto jobs were annihilated after NAFTA. The worst trade deal ever made, and I ended it. I ended it with the USMCA. That's Mexico and Canada. So much better. And then they allowed China, in one of their brilliant moves, to enter as a growing developing nation. You know, if you're a developing nation, you get all sorts of incentives, like things like that we have to do that they don't, including pay a lot of money. So China entered as a developing nation. Well, I think Detroit and some of our areas makes us a developing nation. China doesn't have any place like that. But they allowed them into the World Trade Organization. That did not work out too well for us, let me tell you. because they robbed us and ripped us, and I don't blame them. If they get away with it, but they didn't get away with it. I charge them more tariffs than China has paid in 1,000 years. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars they paid $440 billion or so. You know how much your other previous presidents have gotten from China? Nothing, zero, not 10 cents, not even 10 cents. The press challenged me. No, I think President so-and-so, I don't want to get into it. Oh, Obama did a horrible job. He got ripped. They said he'd come, he'd make a speech. By the way, I don't happen to think he's a good speaker, okay? I don't happen to think he's a good speaker, but he'd come, he'd make a speech, and he'd leave. They say other presidents came, they made a speech, and they left. They say Trump, he came, he looked at the books, he says, you people are being ripped off. Then he might have made a quick speech, and he said, I'll be back in 2 months, and that's what's happening. You have been ripped off. This state has been ripped off. The car business is coming back to this state, and in a short period of time, you're going to have more jobs than you had in its heyday, and it's not even going to be hard. Under Kamala, I don't usually use the word Harris because nobody knows who Harris is. They go, Harris. People say, who the hell is Harris? You ever notice that, Mr. Congressman? They say, got all the genius congressmen over there. They're very good. We only let the good ones come. We have plenty of that we don't like too much. But when I say Harris, Harris has done a terrible job. Harris is grossly, nobody knows who the hell, right? It's true, isn't it crazy? Harris, who the hell is Harris? Under Kamala, the U.S. has lost nearly 50,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone. You didn't know that because the fake news, whoa, you got a lot of fake news. You got a lot of bad ones back there, too. Whoa, that's a lot of fakers. You think they'd want their credibility back. When we show clips, they never showed. A friend of mine called up 2 weeks ago. He said, I love your rallies, but I'd love to see. We do some really pretty good clips that are good up there, beautiful screen. So you take a look up there, take a look up there. No. So all they have to do is take the camera, go like this. 2 inches over, 1 inch over. And the people at home can see it. Right? And the people then at home can see it. But they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. Now you watch. No, friends call up, they say, I love your speeches, but when they're playing the tapes, they never show it. All they have to do is turn the camera about 1 inch, 2 inches over, 1 inch up. It goes like this. And they could see it, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to see it. They don't want to have people see it. U.S. car sales are down 38% since I left office. Good job. Good job, Joe, you sleepy guy. I almost said something bad. That would have been. Oh, I was so close. I was so close. But I think of Franklin Graham. Franklin Graham's a great guy. Does a great job with all of these horrible hurricanes and tornadoes and everything. And he said, he wrote me a beautiful letter. He said, President, I love your stories. You speak so well. I love it. It's so great. But, sir, it would be even better if you didn't use foul language. And I felt so guilty. I felt like, oh, that's a kill. That was in the last paragraph. He's telling me how great. Then he said foul language. And I gave it a shot. You lose a lot of emphasis. And it's not real bad stuff, but you do. I said, Franklin, I think you're wrong, and I do it sometimes that way, and I haven't been able to get quite the same emphasis, but I feel better about myself. I almost blew it right there, almost. It would have been much better if I did, but then I would have had to report to a higher authority. But with victory in November, we are going to take back what is ours. Standing before you today, I am proclaiming that by the end of my term, the entire world will be talking about the Michigan miracle and the stunning rebirth of Detroit. We'll bring back the auto industry greater than it has ever been. I'm not saying a little bit. We're going to bring them back, and if they don't want to build their plant here, you know what they're going to do? They're not going to sell cars here. China will not be building those massive plants in Mexico. Vote Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, and from Beijing to Detroit. Starting in January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy cost. We have more liquid gold than anybody. You know, we were energy independent. 4 years ago, we were energy independent. We're going to give them the lowest regulatory burdens, free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. But you know what? If we're not smart, we're not going to have the biggest and best. We're going to be like Venezuela, like all these other countries that went radical left, socialist, communist. We'll be just like them. The centerpiece of this plan will be a 15% made in America corporate tax rate, cutting the tax from 21. So if you remember, I cut, and everyone said it was impossible, I cut it from almost 40% to 21%. So now it's 21. Got it approved by Congress, if you can believe it. And those people helped me right over there. But we cut it from almost 40 to 21. Now, and that made us very competitive with other countries. Because, you know, we're competing against all these other countries. And, you know, we can say, let's make it 70%. That's okay. But everybody leaves and you have no jobs and you have a dead country. Because we have to compete against Japan and against China and against South Korea. We have to compete. But now what I'm doing is I'm taking it from 21 to 15%, but only for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. You're going to see something. They're going to come floating back when they say, gee, we're not allowed to sell cars in the United States anymore. It's not a question of allowed. They're going to have to pay a big price for them to rip off our companies, steal our jobs, and sell things. If they want to partake in this market, we're going to make it the greatest market in the world, then they're going to have to pay a price. And the price is either a stiff tariff or you don't have to pay the tariff. You'll build the plant in the United States and you people are going to run the plant. And if these companies don't make their cars and products here, then they will pay that tariff. And when they send their product into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers in our cherished and now protected factories, they're going to be cherished and protected companies. We're going to protect those companies. We're not going to let those companies be underbid and all of the things that they do to destroy them. And then they come in and they have the prices twice as high. Not going to let that happen. And we have an advantage over, because other countries do that, but we have an advantage because we have the best market. We will also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. You know what that is? That means that if China or any other country, and there are many of them, most of them, charge us a 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them likewise a 100 or 200% tax in return. It's called an eye for an eye. And you'll see them drop those numbers against you. You'll see everything start to work like it should. These pro-worker policies are among the many reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank-and-file membership of the Teamsters. We have Teamsters here. And it's one of the reasons that we have incredible support from the workers at the UAW. They think that they're very smart. They're very smart. They don't want to make all electric cars because they know all electric cars within 2-3 years are going to all be made in China. They're going to all be made in China. And they're great. They're great. And we love Elon Musk. There's nobody like Elon Musk. But he understands this. You got to have choice. You want choice for schools, actually, and you want choice here. And you want choice in the military when you can, if you can't get a doctor, we call that choice too. We did that too. We did a lot. But you know, I just saw a man in the audience who is incredible, and he was so proactive for Trump. And he's a UAW member. It's Brian Pennybecker. And Brian, if he's around, I want to get him up here for a second. Where's Brian? Come here, Brian. Show me these arms. Look at the arms of this guy. Look at the arms of this guy. Thank you, Mr. President. I saw you out there.
Thank you, Mr. President. Listen, I met Donald Trump, I told you in the pre-program, 8 years ago in this very building. I said, if you come to Macomb County and ask for the auto workers' support and you get it, you might win Macomb County big enough to carry the whole state. Guess what? That's exactly what we did. Now listen, I've got about 150 co-workers here with me. You see them in my red t-shirts. Make some noise, guys. We got 10 days left. And I'm not here to try and convince you who to vote for, because we know who everybody in this room is voting for. What I am here to do is to send you out of here to go home and talk to 10 of your friends, neighbors, co-workers, and family members and make sure every single one of them vote, because our industry, the automotive industry, is on the line, and it's not going to die on my watch while we got this man running for president.
Thank you, Brian. Look at the arms on that guy. Boy, oh boy. Do all auto workers have arms like that? You see, he just grabbed me, and I think I need a doctor. Thank you, Brian. Great job. That's great. Well, he means it. It's from the heart. Brian, does it work for me? I don't know Brian, other than I know that we have the same thing. We want to see the auto industry not leave this state and this country. We want it in the country, and if they choose other than Michigan, we can live with that, but they got to be in the United States. But I think they're going to choose Michigan. You have a lot of assets like the center location, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to thank you, Brian. You're really a patriot. Amazing. Amazing guy. And those auto workers listen to him, too. They listen to him. They get it. They get it. You have a union head that doesn't get it, but I'm sure he's a decent guy, but he doesn't get it. We want these companies coming back to this state, and ideally, I'd love to see him. Look, I've got to be equal to I'd love to see him come into Detroit, though. I'd love to see him. You have so many assets, and we're going to work on it. That's what we're going to do. We are going to make it a miracle. We're going to make the state a miracle, and we're going to make Detroit a miracle, and it's going to happen, and it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. If Kamala gets 4 more years, she will obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, and destroy your family's finances. She'll also kill thousands of people. Her border policy is so bad. Open borders, anybody can come in. What she's done to our country at the border is horrible. What she's done to us. And I say, inflation is rated number 2. The economy, which I think is basically a part of inflation, is rated number 1 in terms of the most important thing that people vote for. Number 3 is the border. I disagree. I think the border is actually number 1. And the inflation's horrible, right? Because they're allowing murderers and drug lords and prisoners. They're emptying their prisons. And I think it's number 1. But her inflation nightmare has already cost the typical family over $30,000 in higher prices, and now she wants to raise the typical family's taxes by nearly $3,000 a year. Think of that, right? She's called the taxing queen, and she's demanding a shocking 33% tax hike on all domestic production. You know what that's going to do? That's going to drive everybody into other countries because they're all competing for our companies. We can't do that. She's a stupid person. We can't do that. Take a look at this.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill.
Calling for a full repeal of President Trump's tax cuts.
If Kamala Harris was elected president, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy. But the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts to expire.
Even the New York Times admits that 85% of the middle class got a tax cut.
Americans will face a hike. The Tax Foundation finding that a couple with 2 kids making $165,000 a year would have to pay over $2,400 more in taxes.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, in that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
See, now the camera didn't show that. So for all of you at home, you're going to have to come in and watch in person. Can you imagine? It's so nasty. They're so nasty. They're so evil. They are actually the enemy of the people. They really are. It's so evil. But you see this. How about a tax on unrealized gain? Think of what that means. We're going to tax something you haven't even taken. They're going to put a tax on an unrealized gain. Think of this. That's a new one, even in the world, that's a new one. It's called communism. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small business, and we will have a few things that I think you'll like. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. Think of those beautiful benefits for our seniors. And as a senator, Kamala voted to impose a 100% ban on gas-powered cars and trucks. Thank you, Kamala. And she doesn't know a thing about it. She doesn't know a damn thing about it. She voted to a 100% ban, which would kill an estimated 200,000 U.S. auto jobs. Please tell the head of, Brian, tell the head of your union that, please, would you do? Can you imagine? She wants to ban gas-powered trucks, things. That's just, there goes, oh, it's gone. Well, it's not gone, it's going to China. It's all going to China. China will make them, don't worry, they make anything. On day one of the Trump administration, I will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will end immediately the Green New scam once and for all. You know, Mr. Congressman, the Green New scam, in her ideal, you know, this was done by AOC, you know that, right? AOC plus 3, I call it, because it's like one person. She has absolutely no experience with the environment. Oh, have you studied? No, I haven't. Have you taken a course? No. But she's telling us about the environment. She has no idea. It's a Green New scam. In their ideal world, what they want is $93 trillion. You know that, right? They want buildings in New York taken down and rebuilt without windows, because a window is environmentally unfriendly. I guess the sun goes through and creates a little warm feel. I like nice and warm. Oh, it's so beautiful. I want a window in my apartment. Oh. I want to see, I tell you, I have some, you get some great salesmen in real estate. I want to see somebody sell somebody an apartment without a window in it. Those would be seriously good salesmen. But no, these people are for real. The cows are going to disappear. No more cows. No more anything. These people are crazy. So it's 93 trillion. That's more than China, the U.S., and every other country has for 30 years. They're nuts. We had the cleanest air for 4 years of any country by far. The cleanest water. That's what I want. I want clean air, clean water, and jobs. I will make interest on car loans. Wait till you hear this, Michigan. I'm going to make interest on car loans. Nobody's even thought about it, but your favorite president. Fully tax deductible. Nobody thought of it. But there's a but. There's a but. Don't get too happy yet. But listen to how smart it is. Look, it's like the paperclip. 129 years ago, a guy came up with an idea for the paperclip. Everybody then said, oh, I could have been rich if I only thought of it. Why didn't I? This is the same thing. Make it fully deductible, but only for cars made in America, because affording a car is a part of the American dream. Pretty good, right? What do you think about that, Isa? No, but think of that. Nobody thought of that. Number one, they didn't think about making it deductible. You know what that's going to do to the automobile business in Michigan? If I give deductibility on interest payments, that's going to be, but now I say deduct, but then I said, well, wait a minute, supposing they buy a car made in Japan, what the hell good does that do us, right? So I added a little caveat, but only if the car is made in the U.S., okay, which will be here. And I had a call from some of the smartest guys on Wall Street. These are, 182 IQ stuff, unlike Biden and Kamala. They're low IQ individuals, very low. But I was talking to 182 guys. That's about top of the pack. And they said, where the hell did you come up with that idea? It's so simple, right? And they loved the second part, but they never even had the first part. Nobody told me about it. It's just an idea. Nobody told me. And then I said, it's so good. That's going to cause car business in this country to boom. And you can have the American dream, because you don't have the American dream without a car for your kids, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very proud of that. So there's two things for you. Well, I think the overtime is great for all these guys, friends of Brian's. I think the overtime, no tax on overtime. We will quickly become energy independent as we were 4 years ago. And we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill. And we're going to cut your energy prices, because people are all saying, oh, it's too. They've already done the damage, They've done the damage at the border. They're saying, oh, we're trying to stop. Oh, they had nothing. In the meantime, there are planes flying overhead loaded up with illegal migrants. These people are bad. They're sick. I don't even know. Normally you know why people are doing things, even on the other side. You don't. Who the hell wants an open border? Who would want it? Unless you hate the country, you're stupid, or you want those people to vote. It could be the third thing, but boy, that's a big price. But I'm going to cut your energy prices in half within 12 months from January 20th when we take over. 50%. And that's going to lower the cost of everything, because we have to bring bacon and eggs and everything. We have to bring it down because they're all record-breaking. They've already done the damage. Just like they've done the damage with all of the criminals they've allowed in. We have to get them out. As we restore our economy, we will also secure our borders. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon the people of the United States. It's true. It's true. It's not even believable. The worst people in the world. I used this term yesterday for the first time. I just thought of it while I'm up here. I think of a lot of things when I'm up here that are on this stupid machine. Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a frickin' teleprompter? Isn't this nice? But I use this term. You know, I always said we're the dumping ground for the world. Yesterday I said, we're the garbage can for the world. We're a garbage can. We're like a garbage can, and they dump their criminals, their people with tremendous mental problems from insane asylums, from mental institutions. They're drug dealers. They're gang members. They're jailed. They're prisoners. They're going to open their jails. They've already done it, but they haven't completed it. I would have done it faster than them. I'll be honest. If I ran one of those countries, one of the many countries, they come now, a lot of them coming in from the Congo in Africa. They open it up. They bring them to the southern border, and they throw them into our country. They come from jails in the Congo. They come from jails from all over the world, the Middle East. A lot come from South America, but it's not just South America. She's eradicated our sovereign border, and she's unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens all over our country. And you see it. All you have to do is pick up your paper. They said, oh, these are wonderful people. You know, the American dream. It's wonderful. They didn't know that they killed 5 people each. Kamala has imported an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums, and mental institutions. And that's pretty much the same thing, insane asylum being a number of steps up. All from around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, and she's resettled them into a community near you. Oh, it's how lovely. All to pray, and this is what's going to happen, and it's happening. They're preying on innocent Americans that did nothing wrong. One of the deadliest and most vicious gangs anywhere in the world has been imported by her open border policies, which are ridiculous. Into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang. These are lovely young people that met in prison, some for murder, some for other things. The name is Tren de Aragua, and it's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree in Aurora, Ohio, in Aurora, Colorado, and it's all over the country. It's no longer just in Colorado or Ohio. How about Ohio, where you have in Springfield, they set 32,000 illegal migrants into a 50,000 person community. You can't get into a hospital, you can't get into a school. This is what they've done to us. But this one gang from Venezuela, probably the most vicious in the world, them and MS-13, the Border Patrol. Oh, by the way, Border Patrol endorsed me last week, gave me the strongest endorsement. And in the endorsement, they said she's the absolute worst, and you cannot let her become... You had to see their endorsement. I like the second part even better than the first. She's the worst. But they've taken over, this gang has taken over Times Square in New York City. Let's take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez Rangel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders. He was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
That's what we're letting into our country. It's not going to happen for long, let me tell you. It's going to be the other way. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs like MS-13, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. We had to go back so far, because that's when they ran a strong country. Had to go back a long way. 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. Gives us total power to do it. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. Kamala Harris is so incompetent and so unfit that she is obviously disqualified from being President of the United States. All you have to do is take a look at what she said the other night on CNN. They had a town hall. Even Allison Cooper was embarrassed by it. He was embarrassed by it. She was terrible. It can't be the president. Can you imagine her dealing with President Xi of China, Putin of Russia? I'm going to meet Putin today. She will destroy our country. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. From humiliating our country in Afghanistan, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, to the war in Ukraine that would have never happened if I was president, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, to her egregious hurricane response, the worst response since Katrina, maybe worse than Katrina. North Carolina, all over the place. Those people, nobody even showed up. You know why? They spent all their... Those people, nobody even showed up. You know why? They spent all their money on illegal migrants. They don't have any money in FEMA. Kamala Harris is a train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. And by the way, October 7th in Israel would not have happened either. Those people that were slaughtered would not have happened. They'd be living today. They'd be home with their parents or with their families. Kamala is campaigning with Muslim-hating warmonger Liz Cheney, who wants to invade practically every Muslim country on the planet. And let me tell you, the Muslims of our country, they see it and they know it. Her father was responsible for invading the Middle East, killing millions of Arabs, millions. And this is the one that Kamala is campaigning with. And I know Cheney very well. She lost by the biggest margin in the history of the United States Congress. She lost by almost 40 points. No sitting congressperson has ever lost by even close to that amount. And now she's a primary endorser. You know, it's going to be very interesting on some of our basic issues. See if you can put those two together. They're just trying to win. They'll do anything to win, but that ain't going to work, that combination. But she's a warmonger. To make Kamala president would be a gamble with the lives of millions of people. She would get us into World War III because she's too grossly incompetent to do anything about it. Your sons and your daughters will end up getting drafted. They'll have a draft. Oh, she'd love a draft. All she wants is war. The reason I don't get along with her is because she wanted to invade every damn country that she looked at. She's a dope, like her father's a dope. This person cannot be president. She's too weak, and she's too foolish to represent America on the world stage, Kamala is. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden, which in itself is disqualifying. Think of it. He's got a 90% disapproval wrong way. And she said, I wouldn't do anything different. That means she can't run. Take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
U.S. inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So, nobody really knew her, but now they're learning her and her polls are crashing. She is crashing. Gotta crash. Can't have her as your president. Kamala's angry and bitter campaign is alienating voters nationwide. Oh, they lie so much. They lie. They lie so much. How about McDonald's? I worked so hard at McDonald's. She didn't work at McDonald's. She never worked there. They never saw that. The manager of the store said she never worked here. She never worked. She's a liar. She's a liar. And I told you before, every commercial she does about me, it's the exact opposite. Our campaign is bringing together all Americans who want a better future for our country. That's why we are building the biggest, broadest, and most diverse coalition in American history. There's never been anything like this. By the way, MAGA, Make America Great Again. This is the greatest political movement by far in the history of our country. That's all. We include union workers, Border Patrol agents, police and firefighters. They've all given me their endorsements, by the way. The police, the firefighters, even the firefighters union, they've never done it before. They gave me what they love Trump. They like Trump. They've always gone Democrat. You know, it's like a bad habit. You know, that's happened year after year, Democrat. Then they meet me. They say, we like that guy. But all veteran steel workers, like Brian, what he does with his hands. Brian, does every auto worker have arms like you? I don't know. Because I'm going to be an auto worker pretty soon. Are they tough? Okay. Oh, they are. Oh, they are. So we're seeing historic levels of support among blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. And let me tell you, these people coming into our country, and you're going to see numbers that they should release now. They have them. They're destroying the black population jobs in this country and the Hispanic population jobs in this country. And they don't want to put out the numbers now. They want to wait 11 days till after the election is over. She's allowed these people to come in. They're taking the black population job and they're taking the Hispanic jobs. Jews, Catholics, evangelicals, Mormons, Muslims are joining our cause in larger numbers than ever before. And now the most wonderful thing is happening. We're winning overwhelming support from the Muslim and Arab voters right here in Michigan. Can you believe it? It's great. And earlier today, I had an incredible meeting, a great meeting. You know what they want? They want peace. They're great people. With a group of Muslim imams. And like everyone here today, Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan. And, you know, they're going to be they could turn the election one way or the other. I think we have it anyway. I'm telling you, we have so many votes, but we got to get more. We got to get more. But the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan and across the country want a stop to the endless wars and a return to peace in the Middle East. That's all they want. Like we had under President Donald J. Trump. Have you ever heard of him? We had him. They want strength in the Oval Office. They want law and order. They want common sense. They're not into the transgender operations. They're not into men playing in women's sports. They want a booming economy, and they don't like Kamala's plan to provide free sex change operations for inmates or illegal migrants in detention, or secretly change the gender of our children in school without even parental consent or knowledge. I'm thrilled to accept the endorsement. Nobody thought this was going to happen. Nobody. Because this is a great group of people, but they always were Democrat. But they look at her and they say, forget it. I'm thrilled to accept the endorsement of these highly respected leaders. These are the leaders. Today, I'm also honored to be endorsed by a very special person. And I'm going to ask if I could, all of my friends to come up from the Arab and Muslim part of Michigan. And I'd like to give them a big hand because they're going to vote for us and help us win.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Michiganders. As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war. We are supporting Donald Trump because he promised to end war in the Middle East and Ukraine. The bloodshed has to stop all over the world, and I think this man can make that happen. I personally believe that God saved his life twice for a reason. I believe personally that God has saved his life for a reason, which is to save the lives of others. We support Donald J. Trump for his commitment to promoting family values and protecting our children's well-being, especially when it comes to curriculums and schools. We as Muslims support this man because we believe that he will be a president for all Americans, embracing every race, color, and religion. with President Trump because we want a strong border. And we agree with President Trump that anyone who wants to come to this country is welcome, but he has to do that through legal pathway. We are with President Trump because we want a strong economy. Don't you want that? We are with President Trump to make America great again through peace and justice for all. Lastly, Michiganders, I have 2 predictions for you for the next 6 months. Are you ready? Number 1, the Detroit Lions will win the Super Bowl. Ready for the second prediction? I can't hear you. Are you ready? The second prediction is Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States of America. Okay? All right, God bless you all and God bless America.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that great? They want peace. These are very good people. I want to just thank them. And that means so much. Those are the most respected leaders. And I just want to really thank them a lot. A lot. That's going to go a long way to helping us secure victory in this great state, too. Let me tell you, I have a lot of great people, and that's going to go a long way. Today, I'm also honored to be endorsed by the mayor of Dearborn Heights, Bill Bazzi's great guy. Come on up, Bill. Come on up, Bill. He's an engineer who worked at Ford Motor Company, served in the Marine Corps and the Marine Corps Reserves for 21 years. He became his city's first Muslim mayor, and he's a terrific man. Thank you. Please.
Hello, Michigan. We had a lot of great speakers before me, so I don't know if I can top what Brian said and also what the Imam said. But I can tell you one thing, you know, just based on my experience. I was born in Bint Jbeil, that's South Lebanon. And we immigrated to the U.S. at age 12. When I came to this country, just a few years after, I decided to join the Marines because I want to give back to the And also, I retired from the Marine Corps. I worked for 2 corporations, Boeing and also Ford. But one of the things that I've seen, one of the things I have never seen the devastation that we're seeing right now. You know, when President Trump was president, it was peace. We didn't have any issues. There was no wars. He didn't create wars. He was actually trying to withdraw our troops from overseas. You know, one of the things that was really upsetting, in my city, we suffered flooding in 22. And I asked for the National Guard to come and help us because most of our city was underwater. But I was asked, we can help you, but there's a price tag to bring the National Guard to help Dearborn Heights. That's pretty sad. We're spending billions of dollars overseas, but yet we can't take care of our infrastructure here in the United States. And this is the reason why I support and I endorse President Trump, because we're going to stop the wars. We're going to make the United States safe again. And also we're going to make the world safe, have some respect, around the world when President Trump become the 47th president. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. What a nice endorsement. These are great people. I also want to thank a man that's been with us right from the beginning, and I have to call him out, Mayor Golub of Hamtramck, Michigan, for his early and strong support. And he's an incredible guy, and he was right up there in front months ago, and I just have to tell you, he started this whole thing a-rolling. So I want to thank the mayor and want to thank everybody that's here. It's a beautiful thing to see. We're going to set an all-time record with the Arab and Muslim voters, which you probably noticed. I saw that on one of the fake news networks last night. They were going over the polling, and they said, this is a little strange. The Arab Americans, Trump 59, Kamala Harris 8%. And that was before these great endorsements, but you had to see these announcers, these anchors. Is there something what's going on? Is this true? It's true, more than true, because we're gonna do something. We're gonna treat people properly. We're gonna end those wars. They want peace. We want peace, everybody. You don't want your sons and daughters. That'll be next. They'll be drafting your sons and daughters to go over there. But I want to thank everybody. That was an incredible moment. I also am pleased to be joined by a very special man. He's going to be your next senator. He's killing it in the polls. He's against somebody who doesn't have what it takes. So I just want to say hello to Mike Rogers. Mike, thank you very much, Mike. You want to come up? Come. And I'm going to tell Mike, say a couple of words, and he's got a big speaking engagement. I said, Mike, say a couple of words and it will be okay. Get out of here real fast and go make your speech, because we have to win. He's heard me speak before, and he'd love to do it again, I'm sure, but we have to win. So you say a couple of words and then you skadoodle, okay?
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Good to see you. Last night, the president was up in Traverse City, and I can't tell you how important this is. I talked to cherry farmers up in Traverse City. Because of the dumping that's been happening on America between Chinese and Turkish cherries, they were telling me, you want to go to the cherry festival in a few years? Guess what? You'll be eating Chinese cherries, not Michigan cherries. I know a guy that's going to help us fix that. Donald J. Trump. We are not going to lose our cherry industry in Michigan when you become president, Mr. We lost in the last 4 years 20,000 manufacturing jobs under Democrat policies coming out of Washington, D.C. 20,000. I know a guy that's going to help us fix that. Donald J. Trump. So listen, the stakes are high, but the choices are very, very clear. We are going to have a wide open border, or we're going to have a closed and secure border with Donald J. Trump and a Republican Senate. You're either going to have high gas prices, high grocery prices, a higher cost of living, or we're going to get an affordable life back again under Donald J. Trump and Republicans when they take the United States Senate. We are going to have a wide open border or a closed border. We need you to get out there and elect Donald J. Trump and Mike Rogers to the Senate. We are going to get America back on track with your help. Thank you, Mr. President.
He's a good man. He's going to do a great job. And she's terrible, by the way. Terrible. A rubber stamp for the radical left. We have another warrior, John James, Representative John James, who's fantastic. Thank you, John, very much. Thank you, John. He's doing great, too. Lisa McLean. Lisa, what a job you do. She is so tough and smart, and she loves this place, don't you? Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. And a person from a little other state, but he's so important in Congress and such a warrior, I had to introduce him. Darrell Issa. Darrell, thank you. Great job, Darrell. He's a patriot, warrior, and a House candidate who's going to win. I looked at a poll. Tom Barrett is going to win, and he's going to win big. Going to win very big, Tom. Great numbers. Michigan GOP chairman, Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, who's my friend. I said, Pete, you got to take this job. And the job he's done is amazing, and I want to thank you, Pete. I want to thank you. And we're winning tremendously. We've never, I don't think we've ever been in a position like this where we're winning everything. And you know why? Because they're so bad. We're good. I mean, we're really good, but they're so bad. And we can't let that happen because our country can't take another. I'm worried about 3 months. You want to know the truth? I can't take 3 months more. I understand we have many members of the Chaldean Christian community in our midst. Stand up. Go ahead. Stand up. You deserve it. You've been treated pretty badly. Stand up. We're going to treat you good. You have not been treated properly. Thank you very much. Look at the love and the enthusiasm, huh? Chaldean Christians, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. No, they're great people. A man who's a very special man. He's the father to Tiffany's husband. Tiffany's going to have a baby. And she's been a great person, good student, good everything, and married this man's son, and this is a highly respected man all over the world, Dr. Masad Boulos. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Ambassador Joe Sella. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Here are the facts. Kamala Harris is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. You know who Pocahontas is? She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of Defund the Police. You know that? She headed up Defund the Police. And anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being a president of the United States. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE, the brave patriots, tough guys, the brave patriots of ICE. We didn't have them, would never be able to get the bad ones out of our country. They're tough, and they love our country. She vowed repeatedly to ban fracking. She wants to ban fracking in Pennsylvania and all over the country, until about a year ago when she said, oh, I love fracking very much. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally non-violent crimes. She pledged to confiscate your guns. Would anybody like to give up their gun in this? Anybody would like to give up your gun? We have somebody waiting outside to grab it and then probably give it to the bad guys. The bad guys aren't giving up their guns that way now. And endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. She has a ban on handgun ownership. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. She lies about everything, and don't forget McDonald's. That was a bad one to me. But on top of everything else, she wants to turn our military woke. Take a look.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face.
With your support, we will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and right here to Michigan. We're bringing them back to Detroit. We're bringing them back to Michigan. A lot of them will come right here. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American workers. We're going to hire a lot of them. Get ready. I will end the war in Ukraine, which would have never started if I were president. Would have never happened. Would have never happened, the war in Ukraine. All those people that are dead, all those cities that are destroyed, all those magnificent domes, golden domes that are laying on their side, smashed to smithereens. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III, 100%. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a large-scale, massive missile defense shield, all of it made in the U.S., much of it made in Michigan. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe and clean and beautiful once again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports right away. Day one. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. After years and years of building up foreign nations, defending our foreign borders and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build our own country. We are going to take care of our own people. We will defend our borders and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and filled with the possibility for those that want to really work hard of the American dream. We're going to have the American dream back in our country. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that simply is too big to rig. That's what we're doing right now. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know and vote. Does everybody give me their word they're going to go out and vote? Everybody. Please. We need it. Saving our country. We need it. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. You know, this is a little bit sad because in another 11 days, we won't be doing this anymore. Hopefully, we're going to be going on to something very big. But we've had the greatest rallies, the greatest time, and really talking about very bad things, but doing it in a positive fashion. Bad things happened to our country over the last 4 years. But we've been doing this really together for 9 years. And in 11 days, we won't be doing this any longer. We'll be doing other things. But so it's a little bit sad because there has never been anything like this done in the history of our country. And probably it will never happen again. When you have a candidate in 4 years, they'll come to your beautiful Michigan and they'll bring with them about 200 people. It's not going to be like this. I'm going from here to another wonderful place. And we're going to have big crowds. There's never been any. The spirit, I don't know if it's ever going to be replicated, but I just want to tell you I love you all. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. With your help, from now until Election Day, we will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. I will never give in. I will never give up. I will never back down, and we will never, ever, 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 ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and vote, vote, vote. Get up there and vote. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. Make America proud again. Make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you, Michigan.
This is just too legendary. I feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know for a fact that this times in the United States it's one of the most interesting time just to watch this man gain more momentum, gain more love, more support from people who would not be on a normal day supporting this guy just because of the things that they've seen. They know how their lives were before 4, 5, 6 years ago, and look how wet they are now. Most people have savings in their savings account, like they had some money chucked away, like okay. But when everything went up, it's like, oh, we got to dip into our savings account. Well, of course, you got to dip into your savings account. And now you want to come back and say you won the office? Man, you better sit down. All right, so we do fair stream here. Okay, it's gonna be fair. So we've heard the 45th, who wants to be the 47th. Most people say he might also be the 47th, right? Now we're gonna go listen to the Vice President Kamala Harris. She also she did a campaign event today, so we're gonna listen to that. But before we do, double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. And subscribe to the channel. So y'all double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up right now. Luke, God bless you. Luke Vintage Gate, God bless you. Everybody watching the live show, God bless you guys, man. You guys are the best. Okay. All right, Kamala Harris. Let's get it.
Oh, it's great to.
So this was Kamala Harris holding a campaign event in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Are you ready? Have you double tapped your screen yet? And have you subscribed? Let's get it, guys. I give you the Vice President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's get it.
Oh, it's great to be in Kalamazoo. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, we got some work to do.
Can we please applaud my dear and incredible friend, the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. And I just have to say, I've known Michelle for years, and she is an inspiration. I know everybody here knows this. She is a truth teller. And she motivates us to get to work, especially when the stakes are high, because as she reminds us, as my mother taught me, don't just sit around and complain about injustice. And there are so many incredible leaders here tonight, but I want to first just thank everybody, because there's so much you could be doing with your time right now, and you are here. And we are here as community, as coalition builders, because we love our country, and I thank you for being here, and I thank you for all your work. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And I want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. He's over there somewhere. Senator Gary Peters, and all the union, elected, and community leaders here today, I thank you. I want to give a special thank you to former Republican Congressman Fred Upton, who represented Kalamazoo for decades and has endorsed our campaign because, as he put it, ours is the team that will bring people together, strengthen our economy, and get things done for the American people. So Kalamazoo, listen, you all know, before I was vice president, I was a United States Senator. And before that, I know you want to say Kamala Zoo. I heard you. Okay. All right. Okay, we got that out of the way. Okay. So listen, before I was vice president, and before that I was a two-term Attorney General of California, I was a senator and a two-term Attorney General of California, and before that a district attorney, and before that a courtroom prosecutor. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators, fraudsters, and repeat offenders. I took them on, and I won. Well, Michigan, in 10 days, it's Donald Trump's turn. Yep. So listen, we've got just 10 days left. Well, you know, I hear your chant, but listen, the courts are going to handle that. We're going to handle November. Okay? There we go. So look, we've got just 10 days left in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. As you all know, voting has already started. And everybody here knows this is going to be a tight race till the very end. So we have a lot of work to do. But we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will. Yes, we will. certain former president would say, yes, we can. So yes, we can, and yes, we will. And we will win because together, and this is about all of us, we are fighting for America's future. And we understand the opportunity we have before us to turn the page on the fear Thank you all. And listen, on the topic of Gaza, we must end that war. And we must end the war and bring the hostages home. But now I am speaking about 2024. All right. So listen, we have to understand the opportunity we have before us to turn the page on the fear and the divisiveness that have characterized our politics for a decade because of Donald Trump. We have an opportunity to turn the page and chart a new and joyful way, dare I say joyful, way forward. Where we tap into the ambition and the aspirations and the dreams of the American people. And I'm going to tell you, as I travel around our country, there is an overwhelming call for a fresh start. For a new generation of leadership that is optimistic and excited about what we can do together. There is a yearning in our country for a president who sees the people, not just looking in the mirror all the time, but sees the people, who gets you and who will fight for you. That is what this election is about. And my whole career, I have put the people above partisanship. I never asked somebody, are you a Democrat or a Republican, before I offered help. Instead, the first and only thing I asked is, how can I help you? And that is a major difference between Donald Trump and me, and between the two extremely different visions that he and I have for our nation. One, his, focused on the past and himself. The other, ours, focused on the future and you and your family. And together we will build a future where we bring down the cost of living. And that will be my focus every single day as president. Because look, while inflation is down and wages are up, prices are still too high. You know it and I know it. And unlike Donald Trump, who had $400 million handed to him on a silver platter and then filed for bankruptcy 6 times, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood with a working mother who kept a strict budget and did everything she could to make sure my sister and I had all that we needed. I come from the middle class, and I will never forget where I come from. And so my common sense plan is about lowering the prices you pay on everything from prescription medication to groceries to housing. On the other hand, Donald Trump will raise costs on the families of America. In fact, independent economists have analyzed our plans and found that mine will cut your costs and strengthen our economy, while his will increase inflation and lead to a recession by the middle of next year. agenda is all laid out in Project 2025. Which I still must say, I cannot believe they put that in writing. I mean, they put it in writing, they bound it, they handed it out. And if you get your hands on it, Google it. It's a detailed and dangerous blueprint for what he will do if he is elected president. Donald Trump will impose a 20% Trump national sales tax on everyday basic necessities, which will cost, the economists have measured it, will cost the average family nearly $4,000 a year. On the other hand, I will take on an issue like corporate price gouging. I've done it before, and I will do it again. Donald Trump will give massive tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations, exactly like he did the last time he was president. I will give middle-class tax cuts to 100 million Americans, including $6,000 during the first year of a child's life, that will also lift America's children out of poverty. Donald Trump, again, read his plan, will get rid of the $35 cap on insulin for seniors. He will cut Medicare and Social Security. In fact, recently it was published, independent economists say he will bankrupt Social Security in the next 6 years. And what everybody here knows, we have so many seniors whose only source of income is their Social Security check. And we believe that our seniors should be able to retire with dignity, not worried about whether they're going to have a roof over their head. And we believe that their families also should not be overwhelmed by the cost of home health care, which is why my plan includes ensuring that instead of you who are taking care of your elder relative, you know, I took care of my mother when she was sick, and I know what that is like. It's about trying to cook something that they feel like eating. It's about trying to help them put on a sweater. It's about trying to say something that maybe will bring a smile to their face and maybe make them laugh from time to time. It's about their dignity. But we have a lot of people right now living in what we call the sandwich generation, who are taking care of your kids while you're taking care of your parents. And that's a lot. It's a lot. And too many people either if you are fortunate enough, you may have some extra money that you can hire somebody, but most people can't. So what that means is so many people have to think about leaving work, quitting their job, which means cutting a source of income, or spending down all of your savings to be able to qualify for Medicaid. It's just not right. So part of my plan says that we're going to make sure that Medicare covers the cost of home health care for our seniors. It's about dignity. It's about dignity. It's about seeing people where they are and understanding the burdens people face and lifting folks up instead of trying to beat people down, which is exactly what we see on the other side. On top of that, my plan will bring down the cost of housing because we know housing is too expensive. And for so many people, you know, generations ago, folks could kind of count on the American dream. But it's out of reach for far too many people. And so we're going to bring down the cost of housing, including creating incentives for more home building, and we are going to create a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. Just to get your foot in the door. Because the way I see it, it's not enough that you're just able to get by. I want you to be able to get ahead. We're going to cut taxes for small businesses because small businesses are the backbone of America's economy. Do we have any small business owners here? Right? I love our small businesses. We're going to lower health care costs because, look, I believe health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who have the money to afford it. On the other hand, we've got Donald Trump, who intends to end the Affordable Care Act, or as we like to call it, Obamacare. And he would take us back to when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was like? Well, we are not going back. We are not going back. Because we are about moving forward. And it is time to turn the page. So ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom, like the fundamental freedom of a woman to be able to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And remember how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. They did.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel. One thing that I've noticed between both campaign strategy is Trump is campaigning based on, we're going to bring it back. Okay, we're gonna bring it back really fast. He's gonna talk about staying in Mexico. He's he's talking about things he did before that are not more there that he wants to bring back, and then new things also. She's campaigning based on entirely what she's going to do, but nothing on what has already been done. So it's like you're saying that you haven't done anything, because it's like Trump is campaigning based on performance that we already witnessed from 2016 to 2020. But she's campaigning based on, look, if you vote me in, this is what I am going to do. But what I feel like she should just say, these are the things we've done, and we're gonna keep doing this. So meaning there's nothing that has actually been done like that people are happy about. The people are struggling. The people are struggling, bro. So it's like, how do we even believe that you can change it? Because you are part of the people that got us here. You feel me?
As he intended, and now 1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions for rape and incest. And the idea that somebody who survives a crime of a violation to their body would not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next, that is immoral. And let us agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree that the government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Not the government. Not the government. If she chooses, she will talk with her priest, her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but not the government. Come on. Some folks up in a state capitol telling you what's in your best interest like you don't know? Not in Michigan, but look, if there's a national, if there's a national abortion ban, nobody is safe. And that's why I so thank everybody for being here, knowing this is at stake for everybody and fighting for everybody's rights. And I'll tell you, so I actually just got in from Texas, and I did an event in Texas last night in Houston. And if you saw it, you probably saw some of the stories about what has been happening in our country. The suffering. And you know, Donald Trump still refuses to even acknowledge the pain and suffering he has caused. He insists that, and I'm going to quote, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade to be overturned. Come on, everybody wanted this? Women are being denied care during miscarriages? Some only being treated once they developed sepsis? They didn't want this. Couples just...
No, man, no. The suffering, the pain that you're talking about is the high prices, the high grocery prices, the high gas prices, the high electricity bill. That's what people are going through. You're saying Trump doesn't want to take responsibility for what you're talking about, but in fact, you are in right now. Why don't you just say, okay, everything is high on my watch. And I didn't know some things, but now I have more information. And this is why, because of the experiences that I have garnered, I will be doing better. I feel like that would be a better message.
Trying to grow their family, who have been cut off from IVF treatments, they didn't want this. The men of America, seeing their daughters, wives, sisters, and mothers put at risk because their rights have been stripped away. The men of America don't want this. Women have died because of these bans. How could anybody say that they wanted this? And you have heard me say, I do believe Donald Trump to be an unserious man. But the consequences of him ever being president again are brutally serious. Brutally serious. And what I mentioned are just some of the consequences of what he has done. And I will tell you, I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. Proudly. With your help. And so, look, and I'm traveling our country, and I'm going to tell you, across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on other hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights, like the freedom to vote. You know, in Georgia, they got a law that makes it illegal to give people food and water for standing in line to vote. The hypocrisy abounds. What happened to love thy neighbor? Attacks on the freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. The freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. All of these things are at stake. And generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. And now the baton is in our hands. Now the baton is in our hands. And on that point, I want to speak in particular to all of the young leaders who are here today. Can I see Gen Z? Many things that I just think are so great about you. You are rightly impatient for change. I love that. I love that. You who have only known the climate climate crisis are leading the charge to protect our planet and our future. You, who grew up with active shooter drills, are fighting to keep our schools safe. You, who now know fewer rights than your mothers and grandmothers, are standing up for
Front line,
reproductive
for real,
freedom.
for real, front
And
line.
for you all,
for real, front
these
line.
issues are not theoretical. They're not political. They're your lived experience. And I want to tell you, I see you, and I see your power. And I know many of you are voting for the first time. Who's voting for the first time? Can we hear it for our young leaders and first-time voters? There we go. That's what this is about, right? That's why we're all here together. It's about our future. So, listen, so much is on the line in this election. You all know that. And this is not 2016 or 2020. The stakes are even higher. Because over the last 8 years, Donald Trump has become more confused, more unstable, and more angry.
This is what I always get every time when somebody comes on the chat and the person says, well, she's more positive than the former President Trump. And I'm trying to tell them, like, who cares about someone who's being positive? Being positive and actually performing actions are two different things. If I am being positive in my household and I'm not paying the bills, how am I being useful to my wife and my daughter? Oh, I'm just a positive dad, but my dad doesn't pay the bills, and we don't have power because my dad won't pay the electricity bills. But he is a very positive man, though. Bro, nobody cares about all that. We care about action, bro. Actions.
And it is clear he has become increasingly unhinged. But the last time, at least there were people who could control him. But notice, they're not with him this time. And then a few months ago, the Supreme Court told the former president he is effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. It's not 2016 or 2020 when you think about that. Because just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. He who will claim unchecked and extreme power if he is reelected. He who has vowed he will be a dictator on day one. He who has said he wished he had generals like Hitler's. Who calls Americans who disagree with him the enemy from within. You know what that harkens back to? And he says he would use the American military to go after them. Donald Trump has even called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States of America. And let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again. Never again. No. So there is a huge contrast in this election, and I'm going to ask everyone to just imagine the Oval Office in 3 months. So you can picture it. But here's what I say to the folks who are watching. It's either Donald Trump in there stewing over his enemies list, or me working for you, checking off my to-do list. decision. You have the power to make that decision. And this is the beauty of our democracy as long as we can hold on to it. The power is with the people. The power is with the people to make that decision. And so, Michigan, it all comes down to this. We are all here together because we know what is at stake. And we are here together, most importantly, because we love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And to love our country is to know that one of the highest forms of patriotism, I believe, is to then fight for the ideals of our country. And that's what we are all here together to say. We love our country and we are prepared to fight for our country and to fight to realize the promise of America. The promise of America. That's what this is about. So, Election Day is in 10 days. And early voting has already started. And you can vote early starting today through Sunday, November 3rd. So we need you to vote early, Michigan. And now then is the time to make your plan to vote. And you can go to iwillvote.com to get all the information you need. And if you have received your ballot in the mail, please do not wait. Fill it out and return it today. Because, folks, the election is here. It is here, and the choice is truly in your hands. And your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power. Your power. So, Michigan, today I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless.
Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in the promise of America? Do you believe? Are you ready to fight for it? Says the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. What do you guys think about that speech she made in Kalamazoo, Michigan? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And she says she's going to be checking off her to-do list as soon as she gets into the White House. If she wins the presidential election, she would be checking off a to-do list. My only question would be, what about the current to-do list? Can you check those first? And then we finna know what hasn't been done. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary 45th, some people say might be the 47th. Some people say he's most likely to be the 47th. Trump also had a rally today in the battleground, Pennsylvania. Do you want us to keep going or you want to call it a night? Well, it's currently 5:33 a.m. Do you want to keep going? Do you want to keep going? Let me know, man. Smash the like button, double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. From Chicago, we have all right, Zen says, that's all I need. One. I don't need too many people. I just need one person. Zen says, keep going. That's all I need.
Well, thank you very much. This is quite a gathering, isn't it? Huh? This is it. We're getting to the end. We're getting to the end, and we're leading in all the polls, so that's a good thing. We better keep it going like your wrestling team. We better keep it going, you know? A very big hello to Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. This is some little gathering we have, and we really give a very special hello to Penn State. We love Penn State. We love Penn State. And I'm thrilled to be here, the home of the Nittany Lions, with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. You're very special. And I think I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? So I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. If you want to go out and win an election, do you want to win an election? Because we're leading, but we got to close it out, right? We got to close it out. I will promise you we're going to end inflation very quickly. We're going to get those prices down too. And I'll stop the invasion of criminals pouring into our country. They're criminals and they're pouring in like we've never seen. We're going to stop it. We're going to get them the hell out of here. And I will bring back the American dream, because you want the American dream, and we're going to bring it back. So this is all you really need to know. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it. We're going to fix it very fast. We're going to fix our country up very fast. With your support, on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. We're going to do it fast. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure. It's disgusting what they're doing. Or whether we'll begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. I'm asking you to be excited about the future. You want to be excited about the future. People aren't excited about this country very much anymore with the people we have in there. We have the worst president in the history of our country. We have the worst vice president, a grossly incompetent person in the history of our country. I'm asking you to dream big again. You're going to dream big, just like your wrestling team dreams big. You know, where the hell are they? Where are they? I hear that team is brutal out there. I can tell. It's easy to tell. I can pick every one of them. Jim Jordan told me about you guys. You know, Jim Jordan, he told me about, look at him with the muscles all over the place. You better get ready, because I'm going to bring you up here in a little while. So you guys better get ready. You guys better get ready. Maybe I'll wrestle one of them or 2 of them. Huh? That would be an upset. No. I'm not going to play that game. Anyway, you get ready. We're bringing you up here in a little while, okay? So, you know, tone up those muscles a little bit. Congratulations, fellas. That's fantastic, man. That's a fantastic record you have. This will be America's new golden age, and every problem facing us can be solved. But now the fate of our nation is in your hands, and it really is. It's a big thing. This is the biggest election in the history of our country, because our country really has gone bad. It's gone bad. It's so sad. When you look at the things we're doing, that we even have to say, like men playing in women's sports, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, but you think of it, so many things, all the transgender operations, all the coming into our country. They're letting criminals into our country by the millions. Pennsylvania, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that I can't even believe I'm saying the name Kamala. Nobody ever heard of her. I'm running against somebody. And you know, you can't use the name Harris if I say Harris. They say, who the hell is Harris? Did you see when she got stuck 2 weeks ago in the teleprompter? She couldn't get. It was 32 days. Now there's 9 days left, but it was 32 days, and she's reading, and the teleprompter broke. And that happens a lot. If you're going to be a politician, you better be able to get through it without a teleprompter, but you can't. And the sucker snapped back, damn it. It snapped back. And she was reading, right? She goes, and 32 days, 32 days, 32 days, 30. I said, oh, this is bad. And then, boom, it snapped back. Too bad. But Pennsylvania, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough. You're not going to take it anymore. You're the worst vice president. You destroyed San Francisco. You are horrible to the great state of California. You're just horrible. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here, Kamala. Get the hell out of here. We've had enough of this crap. Could you imagine going through, we just went through 4 years with a guy that had no clue, and now we're supposed to go through another one, and she's worse than him. She's worse. The polls are open for early voting here in Pennsylvania. I went to school in Pennsylvania. We didn't have quite as good a wrestling team, I will admit. They were okay. I would say they would have lost most of them would be, I think every one of them pinned in the first minute or less. The best one would have lasted about a minute with these characters out here. But we had some smart people, I will say. We had some smart people, but we're setting all-time records right now in the voting. I don't know if you heard that, you know, the fake news. Oh, look at all of the fake news. That's a lot of, whoa. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news. But let's keep it going. You know, we have to close it out. We got to keep it going. We're doing incredibly. Nobody's done like we're doing right now. And I know you like me, but I know you're also comparing it to what we had for 4 years. So that's what's happening with the vote. And I think we're going to keep it going, and we're going to have a real landslide type election. And that's what we have to have. But everybody has to go out and vote. Just out of curiosity, who has already voted? Okay, that's good. Because with that number, and then we're about to go and do the real thing, right? Who is going to vote? That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for the early voters, but the Republicans tend to vote late. They like Tuesdays, and that's fine. Just get out and vote. Everybody promise you're going to vote, right? Promise? Okay. If you're a student here at Penn State, and it really is, it's a great place. I've known it for a long time. I know so many people that have graduated and done so well here. You can vote in person, you can vote by mail, then get your friends, call your parents, call your grandparents, your cousins, call anybody. A woman named Jane, I know her very well, she said to her husband, he's a big slob of a guy, big fat slob. And she said to him, Harold, get the hell out of that sofa. Get out right now, Harold. We're getting out. We're going to vote for the president, but I'm watching the game. Get your ass out of the sofa. And he got up and he voted. He feels good about himself now. Then he sat back down and he watched the game. But get everyone you know to swamp the vote. We want to swamp them. We want to make it too big to rig. Because, you know, bad things happen with these guys. We got to make it too big. The one thing you do, you make it too big, they can't do a thing. So let's get out. Everybody has to get out. And we want to have a big margin. We want to have a big, fat, beautiful margin. With your help, 10 days from now, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. And we're going to make America great again. You know, I'm looking at this crowd. It's such a young crowd. It's a young crowd. Got a lot of young people here. It's, that's what people haven't really gotten. We have a lot of, frankly, we have a lot of everything, and it's a great honor to be representing you. We've been on this journey for a long time together. We've all had a lot of victories. We've had the best rallies ever. There's never been, outside you have as many people as they're standing out there. If anybody would like to give up their seat or their location, I'm sure that you'd have it filled very quickly if you'd like to do that. I don't think too many people are going to do that. But we've had great success, and it's sort of, in one way it's beautiful, and another way it's a little sad, because we've had these rallies and we have 9 days to go to total victory, and then we're going to have a different kind of a victory. We're going to turn our nation around. We're going to have control of a situation that needs having control of, and we're going to turn it around. It's going to happen really fast, too. Two things. We're going to, first hour, we can do many things in the first, but first, we're going to drill, baby, drill. And we're going to close our borders to criminals and drug dealers and all of these people coming in from mental institutions, and as saying is, we're going to have those borders closed. They asked me, what would you do? I listed about 6 things. They asked her, what would you do different? Did you see her answer? I don't know. Right side, wrong side, right path, right? Wrong path. They're like at 90% wrong path, and she doesn't know. I think I'd leave everything the same. That's the end of that election. When she said that, I said, that's got to be the greatest ad ever, right, Marjorie? Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Very shy person. She's a very shy, we have great Congress people here. She's a very shy person, John, right? And John, you love these guys back here. Great John Joyce. For all the young people here at Penn State and across America who may be voting for the first time, I want you to know that I am in this fight for you. I didn't need this. I had a nice life. I'll tell you what, I've been investigated more than the great Alphonse Capone. Did you ever hear of Al Capone, the guys? You think this has been fun, but we had 4 of the greatest years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Think of this, we had the strongest border. Oh, let's bring that, my favorite chart of all time. Can you do it? Do it. You gotta do this. Yes. Without that chart, I wouldn't be here. I turned around and said, bring down the chart. I turned it down, I wouldn't be here, I guess, probably. But see the arrow at the bottom? That's the lowest in history. This was done by the Border Patrol. And that was my last day in office. And then these incompetent people took over. What they've done to our country, it's not believable. Look at what happened. It's all illegal immigration, criminals pouring into our country at levels that we've never seen before, drugs pouring into our country 10 times more than we had seen ever. The country is just, it's in free fall. We're a nation in decline, and we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around fast. But even beyond that, even if it didn't show those great numbers, I love that chart. I sleep with it every night. I hold it. I kiss it. Okay, we love you, darling. Thank you. Put it away. But it's true. You take a look at those numbers. It's just incredible. That was the single lowest time. And then they came in, and all they had to do was leave it. We had remain in Mexico. How about that? Do you think that was easy to get? And we paid nothing. All I did is say, if you don't let us have it, we're going to tariff every product you have at 25%. They said, we'd love you to have very bad people remain in Mexico, gang members. This was in Tijuana. That was a dangerous place. Hundreds of thousands of people stay. This little town, Tijuana, it was probably the fastest growing town in the world because of me. Remain in Mexico. And we had a great system, and we were doing it, and everything was good. We had a terrible result. We did better in 2020 than we did in 2016. Millions of more votes. But it was COVID, and a lot of bad things happened, a lot of bad things. And so I said, do I go to the beach or stay at one of my very beautiful, I have the greatest resorts in the world. I could have been extremely happy. I could have had those beautiful waves smack me in the face. I could have had the beautiful suntan. This white skin could have been tan and beautiful. But you know, if I had it to do again, I would have done the exact same thing, because I want to be with you right here at Penn State, and we want to make our country great again. We're going to make America great again. It's true. That's true. You know, we did so well the second time, but then I sat back and I watched, and I thought, you know, we did a good job. We did a great job as president, rebuilt our military, got the biggest tax cuts ever. We had the biggest regulation cuts, which actually were probably even more meaningful than the tax cuts. We had the best job numbers. We had the best. It was great. We rebuilt our military. And I sat back and I assumed that these people would do okay or good. They were so bad. I watched, I couldn't believe it. And I said, I got to do it again. I got to do it again, because we had the country at a point. In fact, I was going to have a theme, not Make America Great. It was Keep America Great. CAG, but MAG is much better than CAG. It's true, CAG. Keep America Great. The problem was America became not great. And so we couldn't do that. And then I said, we have to run, because these people have no idea what the hell they're doing. And now we're running and we're leading, and we have to finish it off, and then we're going to turn it around even better than before. We're going to make it stronger and better. So many people come up to me at all these places. We just had a big one in Detroit, but they come up to me in all the different places. They said, I had the best 4 years I've ever had. You have the same thing. And now it's tough, sir. It's really tough. And we're going to get it back. You're going to have even better than before. We're going to bring businesses in, bring jobs in. It's all coming back. You watch. It's coming back fast. But the reason I've gone through all of these battles and endured all of the abuse, I have certainly have, you know, in history, Andrew Jackson was considered the president who was really probably hit the hardest. And then Abraham Lincoln, but in all fairness, he had a little civil war going, right? But now I think I hit the top of that list. But we're going to do something that's going to be amazing. We're going to turn this country around so fast. We have to do it, and we're going to do it. We want to make it so that when your children come into prominence, they're going to take over something that they can be so proud of. They're going to inherit the America that they deserve and that you deserve them to have. Kamala Harris is an incompetent person who, in all fairness, got no votes. Sleepy Joe Biden had 14 million votes. Then he went to sleep. We had a debate. He didn't do well in the debate. That's all right. And he went down, and they went to him and they said, you're out. They took over the presidency of the United States. I don't even use the word coup. It was a coup, but basically they took over the presidency. They told him to get the hell out. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, the group, Schumer, the whole group. And then they talk about democracy. Oh, democracy. No, she got no votes. He got 14 million. All of a sudden I'm running against her. But this is sort of like I have a great friend, Dana White, UFC. Probably some of these guys will be there. But this is like they have a fight, and the fight is not doing well. And they say, get him out of there. Let's replace him with another fighter. I got to take two people. But the second one, I think it is, in her own way, might be easier than the first. I'll let you know on November 5th. But we have to get this thing, and we have to get it big. Kamala will destroy your inheritance, but much more importantly, she's going to destroy your country. If you vote for me, I will ensure that you begin your careers, young people, in a roaring economy in a time of unprecedented peace and prosperity. You know, I had no wars. Crooked Hillary Clinton said, look at him, he's going to take us into wars. I said, no. She said, but look at that personality. He's going to take us into wars. I said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars. That's what we did. We had no wars. First president in 82 years. Other than ISIS, which we defeated in record time. We knocked the hell out of them. And we have a great military. Remember, there's not these stupid people that you watch on television like Milley and Mattis. And the real people, the real generals. We knocked out ISIS, and they said it would take 5 years. We did it in about 5 weeks. and we have a great military. I flew to Iraq and I met with the generals. They were like central casting. They looked like Tom Cruise, but better looking. Much better looking, actually, because they know how to fight. These guys were great. They did a great job for me. But we had no wars. We had peace through strength. It was a great thing, peace through strength, and that's it. You don't have to send your kids out to war, have your kid blown up for a country that you've never heard of and that doesn't want anything to do with you anyway. But I will not send you to fight and die in a foolish, never-ending foreign war. I'll get you out of the wokeness, and your schools will be great again. Your schools are going to be great. We'll end left-wing censorship, and I'll defend your God-given rights, and I will ensure that you inherit the freest, strongest, and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. That's what we're going to do. We rebuilt the entire military, and then these stupid people gave a big chunk of it to Afghanistan. For what? There was no reason. Now, here's the good news. It was a lot, but it was very little by comparison. But to see them have that it's just not even believable. And we have it. I didn't lose one soldier in 18 months. I spoke to the head of the Taliban, Abdul. I said, Abdul, don't do it. Anyway, I can't go exactly because it's not nice. He's still there. Do you know Abdul's still there? But I said, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. He said, but why do you send me a picture of my home? I said, Abdul. Anyway, what happened with Abdul, and we were fine. 18 months we went without a soldier being killed or even shot at. Think of it, 18 months. And then when these guys, we had a great election, but it was, by the way, I got the most votes in the history of our country for a sitting president. Can you imagine? But they say they beat us. He got a few more votes, sitting in his basement, not talking. And it's a disgrace. But you know what? We're going to pull this off. It'll be the greatest victory in the history of our country for all of us, not for me, for all of us. For all of us. And starting on day one of my new administration, I will end Kamala Harris's war on Pennsylvania energy, and we will frack, okay? She's not going to frack. You know, that's a big part of Pennsylvania. The fracking is a big part. She's been against it for her whole life. She's been against anything having to do with anything underground. She'll build a windmill. It kills all your birds. Isn't that wonderful? But no, she's against anything having to do with fracking, except about a year ago, she learned that she's going to need Pennsylvania. So she turned her thing and she said, oh, I'd love to see people frack. She had no idea what it was, but she said, frack. And she changed. But you know, with a politician, they always go with what's number one. She'll switch in 2 minutes. All of the different things she wants, transgender operations for people that are in penitentiaries if they demand it. All of a sudden she says no. You know, we had a very short time with her. She had a little honeymoon period because nobody knew anything about her. When they found out about her, she went down the tubes. Yesterday she had Beyonce because she can't draw a crowd. See this crowd? This crowd is packed. I could sell it out 3 times. You got to see outside. And we don't have Beyonce, who couldn't fill the arena last night. But the people went there because they thought they were going to hear Beyonce sing, right? Beyonce got out and said, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to endorse her. What's her name? What is her name again? Oh, I'm going to endorse her. They just don't get it. So what happened is the crowd came because they thought she was going to sing. Then she turned around. She left, and Kamala started speaking, and it was a disaster. They all left, everybody left. We don't need anybody because we are here. Let me be nice. We're here for policy reasons. Oh, policy. We're here for common sense. So the truth is, we're really the party of common sense when you get right down to it, right? Common sense. And they send buses out. You know, they have plenty of money. They get it from the unions and a couple of other. They got a lot of money. They always had more money than the Republicans. But we have much better policy. We have much better ideas. They cheat much better. That's one thing I'll say. They cheat. Nobody cheats like that. Nobody cheats like that. But I'll tell you what. We're going to have, this is going to be the greatest victory in the history of our country. It's going to be an exciting night on November 5th. Kamala has said repeatedly that she wants to ban fracking. She was going to do it. You know, that's 500,000 Commonwealth of Pennsylvania jobs. By the way, never, ever call it a state. I had a friend, a poor guy. He was a friend of one of the congressmen right there, GT. He was our friend of our congressman. He got up and he started talking about the state of Pennsylvania. He was dead. That was the end, right? He was dead. He died. He was dying up here. He didn't know what he was doing wrong. We were trying to send him a message. It's got to be called the Commonwealth, right? It's, well, Biden called it the state, right? But you know, how about Biden when he go to Florida? It's great to be in New Hampshire. It's great. That's when we knew that that wasn't going to work out too well. Kamala's crushing your energy industry with her vicious natural gas export ban currently going on. You don't know about that. And with her Green New scam, Kamala Harris is closing down your power plants. Just take a look. This is on fracking. 500,000 Pennsylvania jobs. Take a look.
Kamala Harris pushed the far-left Green New Deal. That means huge new taxes, increased utility bills, and banning gas cars.
That's why I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Mama Kamala just don't give a frack.
Kamala's fracking ban would kill jobs and raise gas prices. Kamala doesn't give a frack about you. Only President Trump will bring back Trump's strong economy.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm just looking at my hair. I don't like it. I should have been looking a little left. No, I started looking at my hair. I said, am I allowed to go back and recomb it? No. Now, she was against fracking from the beginning. I've been against nothing. I was the exact opposite. I was in favor of because it's tremendous wealth. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than anybody, and we're going to start using it. We're going to make a lot of money. We're going to pay down debt. We're going to do a lot of things. But she was against it from the day she was born. You know, her father was a Marxist, and I guess is a Marxist professor of economics, which is an interesting play on words, Marxist and economics, and I don't know. And I think your father wants to come out now, which is good, because we're trying to see. I'll bet he's a nice man, but we would like to have him say, but we just want to win this thing fair and square. It doesn't matter how we win. We have to win this battle to save our country. Our country is going so bad under Kamala's high-cost energy policies. Pennsylvania electricity prices are already up 50% and are projected to more than double in the years ahead. Year and a half, they expect to be double. Not only are they not going to be double, your energy prices, that's car, gasoline, because we're going to end the electric mandate immediately, okay? Your energy prices will be cut in half within 12 months from January 20th, which is when we would take over. So your energy prices, and that's going to bring down the price of everything. That's how they screwed up our country. That's one of the ways, one of the many ways. They spent too much, they borrowed too much, they did everything too much. But we're going to cut your energy prices by 50%. And we can do it. Most countries can't even think about that. We can do it because we have it right under our feet. We have more than anybody. We have Anwar in Alaska, the biggest find anywhere in the world, as big as Saudi Arabia, they think. Whether it is or not, it's close. And I got it done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. Nobody could get it done. I got it done. We're all set to go. This guy gets in. First thing they did is cancel ANWR. We'll get that started immediately. We'll supply all of Asia with oil and gas, which they need. But Kamala's energy disaster stops the day I take office. We will terminate the Green New Scam immediately. I will stop energy price hikes. I will rescind the natural gas export ban. They ban it. They ban it. It's banned. They don't know why. If you ask them, why did you ban it? Well, you don't really know. We'll have energy independence again. Think of it, energy independent just 4 years ago. For most of American history, Pennsylvania was the commercial and industrial powerhouse of the United States of America. But after years of globalist, radical left politicians making bad decisions like Kamala, they waged a war on your Commonwealth like never before, and they annihilated your steel mills, decimated your coal jobs, assaulted your oil and gas jobs, and sold off your manufacturing jobs to China and other foreign nations all over the world. They destroyed so many states. They're going to come back. Under the Trump administration, we're going to take back what is rightfully ours. We're going to bring it back with smart tariffs. Taxes, not on you, by the way. The taxes are on you. Taxes are on other countries that have been ripping us off for years. And we did it with the USMCA, but we're going to do things that you won't even believe. These companies are going to be begging to come back, because if they don't come back and open up plants here, they're not going to be selling their product in the United States, okay? They're not going to be selling their product. We're going to end the looting and the pillaging of Pennsylvania. We will bring back our manufacturing jobs, our energy jobs, our coal jobs, our steel jobs, and we're going to bring back our dreams. Starting in January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. And it is, but it won't be that for long. If you have a couple of more years, you're not going to have the best and biggest, and we're going to lose the dollar, the sanctity of the dollar. And once that happens, that's like losing a war. The centerpiece of this plan will be a 15% made in America corporate tax rate, cutting the tax from 21 to 15. Now, just so you know, it was almost at 40. And everyone said, you won't be able to get it down. I got it down to almost 21 to 21%, got it passed by Congress. And we took in more money at 21 than we did at almost 40. Think of that. The money was flowing. We did a tax cut that created jobs. Businesses were coming in. And now we're going to take the 21% down to 15, which makes us the most competitive nation in the world. So the biggest and most competitive. But here's the hitch. But only, and this is pretty cool, this was my idea. I'm very proud. I had calls from the biggest, most intelligent, supposedly intelligent. What's intelligence? I don't know. But the most intelligent people on Wall Street, where did you come up with the idea? Because I'm saying you're only getting the low tax rate, and it's only going to be for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. So they go down from 21 to 15, but they have to make their product here, right here, like in Pennsylvania. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a stiff tariff when they sell their products and send their products into the United States. For the privilege of competing with our workers, we don't want that, and our cherished and now protected companies. We're going to protect those companies that have made the investment and companies that are here that will leave. And I did you a big favor, because you do a lot of auto parts especially. So you probably heard that in Mexico that China was going to build among the largest auto plants in the world. They were going to knock out cars left and right, destroy Michigan, destroy Detroit. I just left Detroit. They were very happy. So about a year ago, I found out about I have a friend. He builds the plants. He's the biggest in the world at building the plants. I said, I want to see an auto plant. You got to show me one. I said, where would we go? He said, Mexico. I said, I don't want to go to Mexico. I want to see one here. He said, we don't make them here. We make them in Mexico. We make them in China. He said, what's that all about? He said, that's the way it is. We don't make them. I said, so I can't see one here. I don't want to go to Mexico. But they were going to build the biggest plant in the world in Mexico. When I heard this, I said, wow. And then I leave Detroit, and, you know, they're taking out, they lost 38% of their automobile business. Since they took over, 38% of the automobile business is gone. This is after decades of just losing to other countries. So I did you all a favor. I said, that big, beautiful plant that they're going to make, billions of dollars, it's going to make thousands and thousands of cars virtually a day. It's the biggest, it would be bigger, almost bigger than all of Michigan automobile manufacturing in just a couple of plants. I said, I'm going to put a tariff on every single car that's made in Mexico, owned by China, and it's going to be so high that it won't work. And I don't give a damn. It's not going to work. And I'll make it 100%, and if that doesn't do it, I'll raise it up to 200%. They're not going to have one car come into our country. And I saw that man when I was 2 weeks ago in Detroit in the Economic Club making a speech. Beautiful people, beautiful everything. Beautiful room, everything was perfect. And I look out in the audience and I see the man that builds the plants. I said, I got to see that guy. So I say, John, how are you doing with that big plant in Mexico? He said, sir, it's been terminated, it's been dropped. They think you're going to become president and they're going to lose their shirt because you're going to put tariffs on. So I did you a favor. Because they won't be able to sell any cars because we were going to put the tariff so high that it wouldn't work. And other countries do that to us. But we have the best. We can do it better because we have the pot of gold, and we're going to keep the pot of gold. So that was a great thing. Say, thank you, Pennsylvania. But Detroit, I'll tell you, they are so happy because I was going to wipe out Michigan. That's why the auto workers in Michigan love Trump. And you know what? I won the Teamster vote. How about that? The Teamsters like Trump. They all like Trump. The firemen like Trump. And law enforcement, we've got every law enforcement group virtually in the entire country. She hasn't got one. She doesn't have one cop in a corner that didn't like somebody. She has nobody because she's horrible on crime. She's horrible on everything. We will also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. If China or any other country charges us a 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them a 100 or 200% tax in return. It's called an eye for an eye. And you know what's going to happen? They're not going to charge us any more tax. That's going to happen. Or they'll move their companies into the United States and we're going to be their workers. That's the way it goes. And then they won't have the tax to pay. It's very simple. If Kamala, do you think she thinks about this? She has no idea what the hell I'm even talking about. She's probably sitting there. She thinks she's going to raise taxes on companies by 40, 50%. That would mean you all lose their jobs and they'll just go to another country. Because, you know, a lot of these executives, they're international executives. A lot of them don't even live here. They don't even come from here. They don't care. They go where the best deal is. When I get it down to 15% and then we have everything else going for us, nobody can compete. They're going to be pouring into our country. But they'll leave our country if you raise their taxes to a certain... They'll leave. They don't give a damn. They couldn't care less. If Kamala gets 4 more years, she'll obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, destroy your family finances, and many people will die because they're going to be coming across the border at levels that are 5 times greater than even now. You'll have 200 million people coming in, not 21 million. 21 million people came in 3.5 years. There's never been a border in history with a number like that, but you'll have 200 million. You won't even have a country anymore. Kamala's inflation nightmare has already cost a typical family over $30,000 in higher prices, and now she wants to raise the typical family's taxes by $3,000 a year. Congratulations. This is the only person I've ever seen campaign on I will raise your taxes. All my life I've watched politicians. We will cut your taxes. She said, we'll raise your taxes. There's something wrong with this whole deal, I tell you. This country's gone crazy. The taxing queen, they call her, is also demanding a shocking 33% tax hike on all domestic production. Take a look.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill.
Calling for a bold repeal of President Trump's tax cuts.
If Kamala Harris was elected president, there are many different tax policies which could cripple the economy, but the first thing she wants to do is allow these Trump tax cuts to expire.
Even the New York Times admits that 85% of the middle class got a tax cut.
Americans will face a hike. The Tax Foundation finding that a couple with 2 kids making $165,000 a year would have to pay over $2,400 more in taxes.
And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, in that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, carbon fee.
So first of all, the sound up there is lousy. So here's what happens. I tell my people immediately, don't pay the bill for the guy that did that, okay? And then they get a story, Trump doesn't want to pay the bill. No, you know, when people do a lousy job, they did a lousy job with the sound. But the good news is you understand it. They want to raise your taxes, and that's not acceptable. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses. We have a lot of taxes we're going to be cutting, getting rid of, but we're going to have some special ones. There'll be no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. And I'll also make interest on car loans. This is one that nobody thought of. We're going to make interest because we want to build cars, right? So this is like getting a cut in price, a huge cut. I'll also make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, but only for cars made in America. I don't care if they're made in Japan. What the hell do I want to do it for? Because affording a car is essential to restoring the American dream, and that's what we want to do. We want to bring back the American dream. We're going to do it, too. As we restore our economy, we will also secure our borders. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted on our people. She has eradicated our sovereign border, and she has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens all over our country. Kamala has imported an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. The Congo, they're letting in tremendous numbers. They're letting out all their prisoners from the prisons in the Congo, and they're coming into the United States, and they're forcing them into our country. And we're accepting them because we're led by stupid people. And she has resettled. All of these people are being resettled. You know, of Springfield, a beautiful place, Springfield in Ohio. You heard about this? 52,000 people. They put in 32,000 illegal migrants. Think of it. So they wake up one day and they've almost doubled the size of their town. They can't get into their hospitals. And the mayor's a very nice person. He wants to just help them. But you can't, because the town is destroyed. And all he's looking for is interpreters, because on top of everything else, they don't even speak the language. And then you have Aurora in Colorado, and that's where you see these thugs from Venezuela. And she's resettling all of these people into communities, and In many cases, they prey on innocent American citizens. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang called Tren de Aragua. These are young thugs that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent terror spree all over America. Towns all over America are petrified that they're going to be coming here, but they're in more than just Aurora in Colorado, and the governor's petrified of them. He doesn't know what to do. Now they're even taking over Times Square in New York. Let's take a look at these guys. This is a tough group.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about my good crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
He was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and unheld wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her hands, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
The Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
And this is what we have coming into our country, and we're not going to have it any longer, that I can tell you. And we're going to have to get a lot of them out fast, because we're not safe. And the United States has now become essentially an occupied country. We're an occupied country. Talking about tens of thousands of people like this, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day. Under Kamala Harris, 13,099, this was Border Patrol numbers, illegal alien convicted murders. These are convicted murders in prisons all over the world, are on the loose in the United States. We've become a dumping ground for nations all over the world. They're dumping people into our country that they don't want because they're too dangerous and they're too expensive to take care of. It's very expensive having them in jail for 50 years. And they bring them to us. I said something yesterday, I thought it was terrible, and then I realized it was actually good. First time I ever said it. We've become like a garbage can for the rest of the world. They're throwing all their garbage into our country. And we're not taking it, and they know we're not taking it. They don't want me to win this election, that I can tell you. Because we live with these people, and we'll get killed by these people. These are dangerous people. These are really dangerous people. There's nothing you're going to do about it to make them less dangerous. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. And I will rescue every town across America that's been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. These towns have been conquered. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail, or we'll kick them the hell out of our country and fast. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage groups and gangs like MS-13, one of the most violent gangs in the world. In Long Island, for whatever reason, they go to Long Island. 2 young girls, 16 years old, were walking to school, and they were captured by these animals, and they don't use guns because they're not painful enough. They use knives, and they cut the girls up into little pieces, killing them both. And they paid a price, but you know what? They should have never been in our country. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. We have to go back that far. Think of that. Because that's when they ran the country a little tougher. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole, 0 possibility. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. I will end catch and release. I will end all migrant flights. They fly them in here by the hundreds of thousands. They fly right over the borders. It's not even believable. I will outlaw sanctuary cities, and I will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals, and then they won't come. They won't come. Kamala Harris is so incompetent and so unfit that she's obviously disqualified from being president of the United States. Anybody that would have put up with this, she never even called. You know, the Border Patrol, they endorsed me last week. And in the endorsement, it was full-throated. And they've endorsed me every year. I mean, they're great because we had some great 4 years. We had it done. All they had to do is leave what we had, but they didn't want to do that. But the Border Patrol endorsed me, and endorsing me, they said, she is the worst there has ever been. She's not going to be allowed to destroy our country like she destroyed San Francisco and like she destroyed California. And you see what's happening there. Everybody does, and everyone knows it, but no one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously, from humiliating our country in Afghanistan with Crooked Joe, to the war in Ukraine, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, to her egregious hurricane response, which was worse maybe than even Katrina. Kamala Harris is a train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. To make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions of people. She would get us into a World War III guaranteed, because she is too grossly incompetent to do the job. She's not going to be able to deal with President Xi or Putin or Kim Jong-un or anybody. And then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to go fight for a war in a country that you've never heard of. Our enemies are laughing at her. They're laughing at us. But if we win, our enemies won't be laughing anymore. I tell you, they're not going to be laughing anymore. They're not going to be laughing. Viktor Orban, he's the head of Hungary, a very powerful man, very strong man. They said, you bring back...
Thank you for tuning into the live show. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. This is why people are supporting this man in record numbers. People that would normally not support this guy are supporting him. You know why? Because he's saying and preaching peace. He's saying he doesn't want the kids to go over there to country they don't know about, to engage in a situation they don't even know about. This is why people are supporting this guy, man. I mean, now we've not even spoken about the economy, the border. So it's like, this is your best bet right here, guys. I mean, you could vote for whoever you want to vote for. I'm just saying, this is your best bet right here.
Trump, you're not going to have any more problems. When he was president, we didn't have any problems. Now, I wouldn't use this term, but he did. He said, China feared him, they were afraid of him. Russia feared him, they were afraid of him. Look what I did to Russia. I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 2 was a pipeline that covered all of Europe. I said, you mean we're protecting you through NATO and you're giving them billions of dollars a month for their energy? That's no good. I ended it, boom. When Biden came in, he approved it. And then they say, oh, Trump was very friendly with Putin. No, Putin would say, this is not a great friendship. But I had a relationship. And, they're a nuclear country, so are we. And I'm going to get that war settled because millions of people are being killed. Far more people are being killed in that war than you think. October 7th would have never happened with Israel. Think of it, all those people would be alive. October 7th, it was a carnage. If we win, America will be feared and respected again. But we're not just running against Kamala. She means nothing, actually. She's purely a vessel. Has to be, right? You saw her on the town hall the other night with Allison Cooper. She was terrible. We can't have that running our country. She can't put two sentences together, just like we were not running against crooked Joe Biden. We weren't running against Biden. We're running against something far bigger and more powerful than them. They took his job away. They walked into his office and they just said, you're not going to be president anymore. He went through the system. And I guess I'll use their term. They were a threat to democracy, right? They took his president. They said, you're out. How about that? Crazy Nancy and a few people, they just said, you're out. But it's a big machine, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left group of people that runs today's Democrat Party. They're vicious, they're smart, they're way left, they're communist, probably. Remember I said we will never be a socialist country, right? Remember? Because I like to say I was right about everything. I was right. We skipped socialism, we went down to communism, remember? Right? I think that's, oh, he's saying it. The man down here is saying it. But this is the real group that we're fighting. We're fighting a group of, like an amorphous group of people that seem to be invisible, but they're not invisible. These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open borders policies, record-setting inflation, the Green New scam for $93 trillion. They want every building in Manhattan to not have windows anymore because they think it's environmentally friendly. It'd be very interesting. How do you sell an apartment? Let's see. I want to buy a beautiful apartment. It's got no windows, but it's environmentally friendly. No, these are sick people. We're going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th, and we are going to make America great again, and we're going to do it fast. On top of it all, Kamala says she would do nothing differently from Joe Biden. She said it. No, I would do nothing differently. You know, we lost 325,000 children. Do you know that? Think of it. You never hear it from the fake news. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the Afghanistan travesty. We lost 325,000 children. They're either dead, probably never be found again, sex slaves or slaves. And they were brought into our country through our open border. 325,000. That's big stadiums filled up many, many times. Take a look at this, please.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The
suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A 5th illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
U.S. inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes. Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So you get the picture. You get the picture. It's not a pretty one. Pennsylvania, if you want to end this disaster, you must get out to vote. Everybody here, I appreciate the ones that voted, but just get out to vote. And you can start by also voting for David McCormick. He's a great gentleman. He's a great gentleman. I told him to go and make another speech. He's making a speech. I said, I will represent you. This guy is a winner. He was a wrestler, too. He wasn't as good as these guys, but who is? Not too many people, I don't think. But he was a wrestler. He was very successful in business, in school. He was top of the line. He was the top of everything. And he's running against a guy that doesn't do a damn thing. He's been there forever. And David McCormick is really fantastic. We're also pleased to be joined today by Congressman Glenn G.T. Thompson, who's a winner, a champion. He's a champion. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you. Great job you do. And another one, another great patriot. He loves the Commonwealth. He loves the country. Congressman John Joyce. Thank you, John. Thank you, man. And a woman very respected in Washington and everywhere she goes, frankly. She's a strong person, got a strong personality, but isn't that a good thing? We need some of that. But she's a very, very special person, and she's really a very good person, too. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And we have some special people, because I really respect winners. So do you. We like to have a couple of them leading our country. Wouldn't that be nice? But we like to have winners. And we have with us a team that won like 11 out of the last 13 national championships. And they're the current national champion. They are the USA national champions in wrestling. And I would like to ask them, I don't know if this platform can hold them, because that's a lot of muscle. You know, muscle is much heavier than fat, they tell me, fellas. Is that right? But I'd love to have the team come up here and we can just say hello to them. These guys are something. Wow. That's a lot of muscle. That's great, fellas. Wow. Wow, that's great. Bo Nickel is a friend of mine, fellas. You know Bo? You know Bo, right? He's going up there in December or November, right after the election, actually. Be very interesting, but he's a winner. He's a champ. Come on up, fellas. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. You know, you don't know. To win a national championship is great, but to do it like them, and another friend of yours, I guess most of you are very close to him. It hasn't been that long. Bo Nickel, right? You know? Yeah. And he's fighting a big one in November, right after the election. I said, maybe I'll go. If I win, I'll go. If I don't win, I think I'll be too depressed to go. I don't think I'll go. But he's a great guy. Would somebody like to come up? Who's the biggest? Who's got the best mouthpiece? On
behalf of the Senate, pleasure. So I'm a little shorter than Mr. President here, but it's truly an honor to be here. Thank you for recognizing us. And Pennsylvania's a super important state. We need to win this election, and let's make America great again. Go vote.
Incredible achievement, really. Best in the nation, best anywhere. I was just thinking maybe they could take over the gang. They could knock the hell out of those guys. They would have. They're the only guys in the room that could do that, I can tell you. What a great job, fellas. What an achievement that is. To be a national champion many times over, and with all the competition, a lot of competition in that sport too, so it's a great honor to have them here. But here are the facts on Kamala. Hard to believe we have to go from them to this one here, Kamala. But she's a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crooked Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. You know who Pocahontas is? She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of the defund the police movement, which means that anybody who wants to defund the police, even for a day, should never be worthy of being president of the United States, because the concept is so bad. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. ICE are very tough people. Even they would respect ICE, but they're tough, and they get the bad ones out. They took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. They're very tough cookies, but they love our country, and they've done a job. She wants to defund them. She wants to get them out. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a nonviolent crime. She pledged to confiscate your guns. She wants to confiscate your guns. Would anybody like to willingly give up their gun to Kamala? Well, she'll do it because that's her for her whole life. Now, she just changed that a little while ago because it wasn't working too well with her election. She's a radical left person. Look, she's a radical left lunatic, and that's what you have. And now you know her. She went through the honeymoon period, and now you know she changed 15 different policies on her. Like transgender. Oh no, I'm so not. No, her whole life she wanted that. She thinks operations are wonderful. To transition a man to a woman is a wonderful thing. And without parental consent yet, this is a wonderful thing. Now, if she believed that even for a day, you don't want to have her because it's in there somewhere deep inside, right? She endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens that are held in detention at taxpayer expense. And as you know, did you see the little skit that turned out to be a monster when I went to McDonald's a few days ago? I actually got a call from Sundar, who's great from Google. He's a great guy, very smart, the head of Google. And he said, sir, I just want to tell you, what you did with McDonald's was one of the single biggest events we've ever had at Google. He said, I don't know how the hell that happened, but it went crazy. But I did it. It was just a little throwaway, and I just wanted to highlight. I didn't know it was going to blow up like that, but you never know what's going to happen in life, do you? You never know. You never really know. And by the way, watch Joe Rogan if you want. He did a little interview. Did you like the Joe Rogan? Everyone sees it. But I did that to highlight the fact that a big part of her resume was that she worked so hard at McDonald's. She stood over the French fries. That's what I was doing, making French fries. I'll tell you, those things are damn good when you get them before they get cold. And I stood over the French fries because I was there for about 15 minutes, which meant I was there for 15 minutes longer than her because she never worked at McDonald's. She lied. And on top of all of this, she wants to make our military woke. I don't think so. Just take a look.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the numbers!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer! Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face?
And let me tell you, we're not woke. These guys are woke. A couple of the stupid people we have at the top, guys like Milley, General Milley and Mattis, and these guys are lightweights, but we have the real deal. We defeated ISIS, knocked out the ISIS caliphate in its totality. The fact that we were even thinking about everybody was peaceful with us because they know how good our military is. You could put them in a woke cage for 2 years and they'd come out fighting. We're not woke, and they never would be woke. Just a few people on the top, and they don't really matter much anymore. In conclusion, with your vote this November, we're going to fire Kamala, and we are going to save America. With your support, we will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine very rapidly. Would have never started if I were president. Should have never started. Should have never started. A horrible war. And I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. We're very close to World War III. We've never been so close. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. They deserve this. They have to have that respect. We have to give them back the honor and the respect that they deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. I rebuilt the military, but we're going to now do upgrades. We will build a missile defense shield above our country, all over our country, and much of it will be made in Pennsylvania. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And I am going to put in legislation immediately upon getting to Washington that makes it an absolute penalty to burn our American flag 1 year in prison, 1 year. If you want to burn our American flag, you go to prison for 1 year. And I looked at what happened 2 months ago in Washington, D.C. with the horrible scene. They were burning flags all over the place and spraying spray paint on beautiful limestone, but that's my business, real estate. I look, limestone sucks in the paint. You'll see that limestone, you'll see that paint 100 years from now. They were spray painting the beautiful lions at the main entrance to a magnificent building. No. But you burn our flags 1 year in prison. They say it's unconstitutional, but I can't believe that. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and immediately. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. That's your Second Amendment. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens, maybe for a change, right? And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. It will be ended. You can come into our country, but you have to come in legally. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and loaded up with the American dream. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know out there, all those people that raised their hands, please get out and vote. You gotta vote. And all the people that didn't have to raise their hand, we really appreciate it. We really do, because we're going to have the biggest victory maybe in the history of our country. This could be the biggest in the history of our country. After all we've been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of America. With your help, from now until Election Day, it's 9 days, we will restore America's promise. We will put America first. And we will take back the nation that we love. You know, we've been on this journey now for 9 years together. We've had the greatest rallies in the history of our country. It's the greatest movement in the history of our country. And it's now coming to an end, as we know it. It's coming to an end. In one way, it's sad. In another way, it's beautiful. I think it's going to come to a very successful end, and then a new period begins, and that's the next 4 years where we're going to make our country so incredible, and we're going to do it so fast. But there'll never be rallies like this. There'll never be. In 4 years, there'll be somebody come in and they'll call for a rally and they'll have 200 or 300 people. There's never been anything like this, not in history. And it's a great tribute to you and the love that you have for this country, and I will never forget it. I will never forget it. But now we have to finish it off. We have to finish it off with a big victory on November 5th, the biggest, I believe it'll be the biggest political event in the history of our country. That's how big it's going to be. Remember, we will be a nation in decline no longer from the day that happens. But we are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down, and we will never surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. God bless you all. Good luck, fellas. Have a good life. Great people. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
This is the greatest time in American politics right here. This is the greatest time. Just listening to this guy with everything he's been through from 2016 to now. If he wins, if he wins, this next 4 years would be the most talked about years in America, especially if peace comes into play. If Ukraine and Russia stops, if Israel and Palestinian people, Iran stops, and then inflation goes down and this prices goes down, bro, this man is going down in history. I mean, he's already going down in history anyway. But if he wins and everything he's talking about happens, bro, it's over. It's over, bro. I don't like it's over, bro. It's definitely over. Anyway, Lemonade says, "Are you in this country?" No. Thank you for tuning into the live show. You guys are the best, man. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. You guys make it all fun. You make it all worth it. Come here every night. You just stay with me. We watch these videos. We talk about it, and you guys just keep coming back. You guys are the best. God bless you. 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 We have come to the end of the live show. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Okay? Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in God. Okay? Genesis is signing out. I will be back. It is currently 6:54 a.m. and today's date is the 27th of October 2024. It is Sunday morning. So are you going to church? Let me know in the chat. Are you going to church or you're planning on going to bed like I am going to bed? Ever. I'm going to pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day for myself, my family, and for you and your family. Okay. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. All right. Genesis is signing out.